can't teach you. Who you
That's pretty good, man.
Oh, shit.
That's
Save me
some
that.
life,
Save me that clip there.
Yo, I will. That's some life lesson shit. I can't teach you who you are. Like, that's very real.
Oh yeah.
Just get over here, my guy.
I was getting up.
It's the one time you gotta get up.
I was getting up.
Yeah.
Cheers, y'all.
Thanks, guys. I
Yeah,
really appreciate you both.
Very important.
This is nice. This is nice. This is very nice. I enjoy. Oh wow, this chair is loud.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very loud chair. Jesus fucking Christ! I did not realize how fucking loud it was.
I'm also up high, which I've always preferred when driving. I like being in a higher rise car.
You're a truck guy.
I've always been my first car was a Toyota 4Runner, so I was up high, and then I went to my truck, and then now I'm in my dad's old Subaru, which is still higher than like a Miata, but like I'm lower to the ground. I'm not.
Yeah, doesn't feel comfortable.
No.
I made some very terrible financial decisions because I felt the need to be higher up when driving. And the worst of them was when I lived in Seattle. I was there for about 3 years, and I wasn't driving at the time. Same as now. Like, I don't drive now. But not due to the same level of convenience that I have now, obviously. But it was very easy for me to get to work and everything like that, so I just didn't drive. And due to judicial
That's a good way to put
commandments, I was told I had to get a car because I needed to get an ignition interlock put in. Even though my lawyer told me I wasn't going to have to do that if I didn't drive. And then judge was like, no, we're not gonna let you skate off with that. You got to go get a car to put an ignition interlock in. So I was like, well, let me scramble and get the first car I could get.
Yeah.
Ended up getting it was a Honda. I can't remember it off the top of my head. It was like a Civic, but it was a sedan, not a coupe. I can't remember the name of it. But I had that car, and it was a car that my AGM had in his garage. And it used to be his car when he was a bartender at the bar I worked at. And he's AGM at this point.
Right. So
God, I wish I wish I could remember his name right now, but it's been a few years. But he's had kids.
Yeah.
They've just had, I think, their second one. And he's like, well, I've had this car sitting in my garage so long that, batteries died and it needed a little bit of work. So I need to offload it. And I was like, dude, I need a car.
She might be helping me out.
Yeah, like I need a car. And at this point, I hadn't even lived in Seattle for a year yet. I think maybe between 6 and 9 months.
Yeah.
And so I'm still like getting my feet under me, because if you haven't figured it out yet, I got a DUI before I moved. So I'm still like figuring out all the financial stuff and while moving to another city, another state. So he was like, yo, I can sell it to you for $450. I was like, a car for $450?
Let's go.
I don't give a fuck what's wrong with it. Like,
probably
it still
put
runs.
$2,000 into it.
Yeah, but it was like, it still runs.
Yeah.
And it didn't need $2,000 worth of work. Like, really, it needed a new battery. I think it needed one other like simple part changed. Okay. And it was like road ready. But the main issue that it had is, as with older cars, a lot of times, like once you start it up, you'll see the RPMs kind of rev up on their own.
Yeah.
So you're like, that's a deeper issue that I'm not gonna put the $2,000 into. Yeah. I just need this car, and we'll get to the point here. But the point of this is I had to get this car because of this DUI situation. And then I go and I get this fucking car. and I'm living in downtown Seattle, and I got to figure out parking, which was the main reason why I didn't drive.
100%.
And then I finally moved to a place that's closer to my job, and I don't have to worry about parking. But this car is fucking falling apart, and it's giving me so many issues with the ignition interlock device, you know? And I'm just like, fuck, dude, this is a fucking pain in the ass. Like, you already like, for those of us who have had interlock devices, you'll be sitting there driving, it's like, all right, blow on this, pause. And you're like, all right, cool. All right, cool. While driving. And sometimes it doesn't register the way you want it to. And then Seattle is humid, especially when you get in the car. So then the thing gets moisture in it, and then it doesn't read your breath alcohol level the right way. So you got all these issues on top of the car not wanting to work right.
I heard you can cheat those things too.
No, by the time I got one, it was no longer cheatable. No,
okay.
no. I had so many issues with that car, mostly because the car being older and you having a certain set combination you needed to get that car to run, it didn't match with having to have an interlock device and a schedule. So then when I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm going to get another vehicle. I need another vehicle. I need something that fits my sensibility with where I'm at now. I don't have to deal with these issues. But it was also the same time that the interlock was coming off. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to celebrate. I want to get me another SUV. Because before that, before I moved to Seattle, I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I think it was like a 06 Grand Cherokee. And I had a Harley 07 Road King. And so for me, I'm living the best of two worlds before I moved to Seattle. And then I got to move to Seattle, and parking's like $400. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking pay that. So I sell my vehicles. And right after I sell my vehicles, well, I sell my bike.
Well, like 400 a year?
400 a month. $400 a month for parking. Yeah. And this was in 2018. So I can only imagine what it costs now.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, well, I can't afford to pay for the car and the motorcycle for parking. That's $800 a month for parking. So I sell the bike. And maybe 3 weeks after I sell the bike is when I get my DUI, because I'm getting ready to leave Phoenix. So here I am like, okay, well, I'm finally going to get this albatross off my neck.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like early to mid 30s at this point, and I'm like, you know what, my plan of moving to Seattle, I'm gonna fucking implement that plan I had before I moved out here. And this DUI derails me. And then I go and I take a test drive in this SUV, and I made the worst mistake ever. It was a fucking Mercedes-Benz. It was around 2008, 2009 model, something like that. So, you know, it was no. It was like a 11 or 12. And I didn't know this at the time, but that particular model had a bunch of issues with electrical. Mechanical, fine. So I do the test drive. Oh my God, this fucking SUV is amazing. Buy the car, got it for a few weeks, cool. Then the electrical starts fucking failing. And I'm sitting over here like, dude, are you fucking kidding me now? I gotta sink money into this car, this SUV, because I needed to be above where I was. Like, you have all of these issues. And my point about this is that we can always tell ourselves that our happiness is on the other side of whatever it is that we're trying to achieve. But if you're not doing the work to actually figure out what it is that you want, you're not going to find that happiness. Because I'm trying to get out from under this DUI, to get out from under having to have this car that I didn't want. It didn't fit within my schedule. And now I'm losing money, I'm losing frustration, all of this stuff. And then I finally think I'm going to be on the other end of happiness now, because here it is this year that I've had to deal with this. I'm finally going to be free, and the first choice I make is the wrong one, because I picked the wrong vehicle. Had I taken the time?
That wasn't your fault, though. The vehicle had all the issues.
True. But what I'm saying is that if you take that breath and just take a minute and step back and think about it, you know, I could have done a little bit more research into the car that I was getting before I got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I could have looked at the bad and not just the good. I could have just exhaled a bit and just chilled out. You know, I thought I found the thing that was going to make everything better because I was so focused on getting away from the things that I felt was making things bad, when really the person I should have been the most upset about was myself, because I'm the one who got the DUI.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I can't be mad at the judge for rendering the verdict. I did feel like there was a racial component, more on that, but I'm just saying there were so many things that went into it, but really at the end of the day, I could only be upset at myself for putting myself in the first situation, let alone the second, third, fourth, and fifth.
I think what I hear you saying is that you wish that you had done what you can control differently so that you don't put the ball in their court.
Exactly.
To throw that judgment.
Exactly.
Render that judgment to you. Yeah, no, I get that. You ever heard of something called the sunken cost theory?
Yes. I don't know it offhand, but I have heard it. Yes. Please explain.
I just had it spoken to me today.
Oh, okay.
Because I was talking about something, and somebody's like, "You ever heard of this?" I'm like, "Tell me more." So basically, what it comes down to is that you're constantly throwing money into something, thinking that on the other side of, if I throw just enough, I'll get to happiness. It's like constantly putting money into a slot machine and hitting that thing, and you're like, I'm gonna hit big, I know it, I'm gonna get that jackpot. It says it's possible, and I keep pumping money into it, and it's never getting any better.
No.
And it's never gonna get any better. I had that same. You talking about your Jeep Cherokee? I had the same issue. I think you remember maybe actually this time last year. Actually, I lost my truck. You know, I was having issues with it. I took it in. I put like $1,000 into it. They're like, this is the problem. I'm like, okay, great. How much is that gonna cost me? $1,000. Okay, cool. Here. Ouch, that hurts. But here, fix my car. Okay, cool. I get it back. Not even 3 days later, gotta take it back in. What's the problem now? I don't know. Let's keep it for a day. Well, we won't charge you this time because you already brought it in. But let's take a deeper look at it. I'm like, all right, cool. Take a deeper look. All right, well, you know, we think it might have been this, and it was a simple little tweak, and our guys did a full inspection of it, and like, here it is. Okay, all right, how much is it gonna cost me? Well, all right, $200.
Yeah.
All right, here you go.
Yeah.
Not even 72 hours later, I'm right back in there and be like, okay, I'm driving down the road, and the thing starts beeping, and I hit my accelerator, and it's not going past 20 miles an hour. What is going on? All right, well, we'll do another exhaustive deep dive into it. We won't charge you for this one, but like, if it comes to like repair work, then we'll charge for that one. Just fix it.
Yeah.
Well, then they come back to me after now I put like, you know, I think at this point it's like $2,000. And they're like, they come back to me like, okay, we found the problem. Your head gaskets, or it's something about the rings on the inside, but basically what it came down to is your head gasket's blown. I'm like, oh, great. What's that gonna cost me? Oh, well, about, you know, at this dealership, probably $5,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, $5,000? Call my dad. I'm like, Dad, I need some advice. And my dad was just like, son, here's the deal. I know you love that truck, and I get it. If you love something, you want to put everything you can into it. It's a sunken cost theory, is what it came down to. Is that I'm constantly putting something into it, and at the end of the day, this car is just depreciating and getting older.
Yep.
You know, I think it was it was like 125,000 at the time that I had it, maybe a little more actually, but you know, I put everything in it. I love that truck. I took care of that truck. And at the end of the day, it's just old. It's falling apart.
Yeah.
And I could keep pumping money in. Like I could have put another head gasket into it, and I know it was it was almost 150,000 because I almost had to put another clutch into it. That's what it was.
Shit.
And you know, I would have had to do that, which would have been another however many thousand, you know, and then parts and labor, so there's another couple thousand.
It just keeps adding up.
It just kept adding up to the point where I was just like, I can't keep doing this. I remember going in there to the guys in the shop. I was like, guys, I can't keep putting money into this, so yeah, I'm gonna have to try and sell it. And the guy looks at me, he's like, hang on, let me talk to one of my guys. Sure enough, one of the mechanics came over and said, what do you want for it? I was like, try to recoup some losses. I was like, 1,500.
Yeah.
And they all laughed at me, looked at me like I'm crazy. I took the 1,500 in cash. I walked away. I got a call 2 days later saying, hey, it's probably a good thing you sold the car. The transmission just blew. Sold the car after the head gasket was gone. I was probably going to need a new clutch soon, and now the transmission just blew.
Yeah.
just blew me away. And it was one of those moments when I had to kind of look back and be like, my heart said, I love this thing. I want to hang on to it forever if I can.
Yeah.
But the smart decision was, if you love something, you gotta let it go.
Yes.
Are you talking about a car or a relationship?
Well, it can always be. But I had a loving relationship with my boy, that truck.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was the truck for sure. But yeah, I love that thing, and I had to let it go. Because like, here's the thing, this is what I loved about it, is that when I had a truck, I was the guy with the truck. You ain't as cool when you're the guy with the Subaru. You ain't as cool when you're the guy with the Subaru.
No.
I was the guy with the truck. Everyone called me.
Guy with the Subaru just hits different. What kind of Subaru? What kind of trails you going on?
Yeah.
Like it's just. Yeah,
Cool.
I get exactly what you're saying. And I just wanted to say, on top of that, as you were speaking, I started to realize why I asked for you to be the first person on this. And, it's funny, like, we are known for cold opens on the industry perspective, but this is not the industry perspective. This is a, partnership. A branch off, a spin-off, as you would call it.
Yeah.
This is my corner of the industry, and I like to call it the Soul Coffee Cafe.
Yeah.
And the reason being is, my brother, he knows. I started the brand Soul Coffee like almost 10 years ago, and I've had different thoughts on what it could be, but the underlining feeling about what it was about why the fuck do you wake up every day and why do you do what you do? Like, what's your why? What's your reason? What's your reason for not checking out early? What's your reason for staying late? And I mean that in work and life, so it's just like Soul Coffee was always about what matters to you the most, because I fucking hate coffee. And so it's just like this thing where people would be like, soul coffee, like, where's the coffee? And I'm like, that's the point. Because, at the time I really was thinking about it, it was around the time Starbucks was already been a thing for forever. And it's before I moved to Seattle. And it was reaffirmed when I moved to Seattle, because when I moved to Seattle, I moved to downtown proper. That's why it cost me so much. I was right across the street from Pike Place Market. No. And, the original Starbucks and all of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like 12 of those stores would be like, we're the original. I'd be like, I bet you are.
This is the OG one. Yeah. Where I watched people stand in line for hours for a mug. Because the OG one was the only one that had it.
Sure.
So it's just that thing of coffee being this thing that everyone needs to get through their day. Like, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee and all this other shit. And I'm like, dude, what about us non-coffee drinkers? Like, and thank you for saying that, actually, because it leads me to my point of why I kept saying you needed to be the first guy, and why it like really was brought to home right now. I just realized you remind me of one of my good friends from like 20 years ago.
Really?
We're not friends anymore,
Fair.
But like we were friends at the time, and he was a mechanic. And, I don't think I've ever realized it until this moment, like right now while we're talking. We stopped being friends because we started drinking different coffee, so to speak. We had been friends, we had been roommates, I remember like when his fiance left him, and this is after we helped her pack up her moving truck and move to San Francisco. And then they broke up afterwards, and I was like, do you not remember us helping to put the fucking moving truck together? That was when you broke up, bro. Like, y'all were done. Mm-hmm. And then years later, he ended up in a relationship with someone, and you could tell that both of them were just in a relationship because they didn't want to be alone. And so I was like, dude, me and you were those guys that always talked about, like, being in the right relationship for the right reasons. When we were in our 20s, man, we were like, nah, we're not going to end up in no shitty relationship. But then as time went on, he just sat in his house that he bought no shade, man. He owned his own home when we were like in our mid-20s. And like to me, I was like, holy fucking shit, how did you do this? And he owns his own home. And eventually I move in with him because I move out of our other friend's house. But, you know, I'm going to keep it a buck with you, man, because on this show I actually can. I came to realize after the fact, they both had their own homes in their early 20s because they were both white. And I say that because their particular family hold on, let me finish. I got you.
Yeah.
Their particular family structure was set up in the white American nuclear family. Even after the family separates, there's still this let's come together to take care of the children thing. Oh, we need to make sure you own your own home. This is early 2000s,
Yep.
post 9/11. You need to invest in property.
I actually wasn't going to debate you.
Oh, okay.
on the-
Yeah,
on the
sorry.
statistics. I was actually going to ask you where. Was this North Carolina?
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
This is
Okay.
Phoenix. Sorry.
Because that context is like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. So I guess I was kind of saying it to them.
Yeah.
You know, it's just this thing of like, everything was set up for them to have those opportunities. And it wasn't a thing where I looked at them like, how dare you have it? I was just like, yo, I was just happy I had some white friends in Phoenix who owned their own homes and I could learn game, because coming from rural country North Carolina, nobody could teach you the game because no one knew it.
Yeah.
So I moved to the other side of the country and I started learning more, and I'm like, oh, you can own your own home in your 20s? Holy shit. You can go to college and maybe finish, maybe not, whatever, but the world is your fucking oyster. And here I had this homie who was helping me learn the game. And then all of a sudden he was just like, no, I don't want to be alone anymore because that woman left me. And I was like, bro, she left you about a year and a half before you figured it out. Why would you change everything about you? Why would you start drinking a whole different coffee? Why would you start waking up every day thinking a different thing? And then I started realizing how we got so separated. And I want to say that when I see that reflection in you conversationally right now, I say that in a positive way because you are one of the few people I've ever met. I don't think you've ever known how to be anybody else other than yourself. And I fucking commend you for that. like, I mean, you know, people might try to be other people, but what I'm saying is like, you don't get to this stage of life and be as comfortable as you are without figuring out that you are who you are. And I just want to say I give you credit for that. Even if you're about to turn back and tell me that is false.
No.
I'm just saying what I see in it is just like, it's not, you know, people use the term being unapologetically you. And I'm like, you're not unapologetically you. You're like, no, I'm just me. And so hats off to you for that.
I really appreciate that. I won't fight you on that, actually. I would say that, like, really just, especially in the last year and a half, like, I've had to do a lot of, I would say, actually, in a year and a half, I learned acceptance. What it is to just accept. There are things about me that I've run from my whole life. There are things about me that I've not wanted to admit out loud. I've not wanted to share with the world because I'm afraid that, you know, maybe I'll get judged or whatnot. But, you know, I hit a hard crossroads, you know, in August 24, and I was forced at that point to really look at myself in the mirror. And I realized, you know, and that was like the first moment, like, I'm gonna look at myself in the mirror. And then, you know, 6 months of doing that and starting a new pattern, I had to realize I don't accept it. I haven't accepted any of myself. Just because when I say I accept something, that does not mean that I have to like it. That does not mean that I have to understand it, because I sure shit don't.
Right.
You know? But I accept it. And it just is. I am who I am, and it just is what it is. And I have two options, two roads, and honestly, if you guys are watching, I'm probably gonna steal. I stole this from Stranger Things. So, but the truth is like there's two roads to acceptance here. You can go down one road, which is running the tape back constantly over every single thing you do, running yourself through a microscope, like judging it, you know, then reanalyzing it, pushing people away because you think that they're not going to get it. And you just sit there and you silently suffer by yourself. Or the other road is you just accept it. And it doesn't mean that you have to like it. It doesn't mean you don't think about it. It doesn't mean you have to understand it because you're probably not going to. You know, you just accept it and you try to live the best life that you possibly can.
There you go.
And so when you say that to me, I am so very appreciative that you say that. Thank you, because it has taken me so much work and effort and honestly patience, which I'm Irish and I'll blow up like a volcano. I don't have patience. That's like the hardest thing for me in the world. But like I've had to struggle and be patient with myself because I've just tried to learn how to accept myself because I didn't want to for fear. Really, all it is, it boils down to fear and being scared.
Well, no, thank you for sharing that. To be
thank you.
wholly honest with that, thank you for sharing that the way that you did because that can lead me to another thing that I wanted to kind of save for later.
Sure.
But when the conversation goes in that direction, it goes in that direction.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, one of my rules for myself, I don't always preach this for everyone else, but it is something that I wholeheartedly believe in. And I say that you should never feel comfortable saying about who you wouldn't say to. And what I mean by that is you shouldn't feel comfortable speaking about someone in a way that you wouldn't be comfortable telling them if they were there.
Oh, like if I have the power to say it behind their back, I should have the power to say it to their face.
Yeah. And so I will say, like, for people out there, we didn't have the best start. And it wasn't because of you or me or anyone or anything. It's the environment we were in, the timing that everything happened. And there was a lack of communication because there was no time for it. It's, you know, I like to say that, you know, I make this joke about like, oh, when the bullets are flying, you know, that's when you really know who you're working with as far as like in this industry. Because it's like, once a customer is fucking going off on you or the fucking keg system goes down or like the one popular beer that you have is now the warmest beer you have because no one put it in the fridge or whatever the case may be, that's when you really find out who you're working with. And I will say, like, I've also had this with Martha, you know, and I feel that you two have been the two people that have been very instrumental in my growth that I feel that I've had over the last year. And like, I don't want to be arrogant enough to say I've grown because I don't know, but I feel like I have. And I say that comes from the people I've been around. And you both came to the bar around the same time. And I can honestly say, I remember me and Martha, we never ever look at anyone's skill. But there was this one time where we were like, well, we don't know what he's thinking sometimes. And then there was one moment, the one moment you and I have ever had that I remember was you were working point. And we had already been cut a bartender and you were working point and I was working service and then moved over. And then we were like breaking it down. And the way that the manager communicated to you, they communicated to you one thing.
Oh, I remember you saying.
And they communicated to me a different way. And then when it like boiled up, I was like, I wasn't even mad at you. I was just like,
I remember.
I'm just saying this. And you were like, okay, well, I'm just saying this. And I was like, cool. Well, we both said it. And then by the time like everything was cleaned at the end of the night and we were hanging out, we were both like, oh, like it was the realest moment we've ever had as far as like as a post shift. And I wanted to say, especially with this show itself, as well as, yes, it's a spinoff of the industry because, you know, it's where we met. And we should definitely lean into that going forward. because we have plenty of stuff to discuss.
For sure, yeah.
With this, and I'd like to actually propose this if you have time. I would like to say what I'm going to say, and we can dissect that and converse about it.
Okay.
And then we could also kind of like break this up into two, and then focus more on that side, on the opposite side of the break, just for a more cohesive thing. That being said, like, I appreciate that we were able to get to a point where we could communicate to a point where now we're on a podcast together. Whereas before there was never any animus, but who would have thought we'd ever hang out in the same room?
Yeah.
But then when you look at, and I mean this seriously, when you look at this country, how is it not a direct reflection of the potential that we have, of people being put in the same room and being able to communicate with each other and learn that they have so many more things in common? You know what I mean? Like, isn't that what the service industry really is about and really is a reflection of? Is just how far we can get when we all work together.
Yeah.
Because when you started working there, I was trying to leave.
Right. Yeah.
And all this time has passed to where we're friends. I consider you a friend. I hope I'm not speaking for you, but I'm just saying that look at how far people can come with not knowing each other's background and not having a reflective background, but having a shared experience, especially by growing up in the same country, similar eras and things like that. It's like, man, look how fucking well we can work together.
Yeah.
And I turn it over to you to respond.
I wanted to respond to your. You kind of brought up like guys in the trenches metaphor, and to speak to that, I remember that time and that story you just told, and thank you again for bringing it back up. It's good. I remember, and this is when I knew that I could trust you, regardless of whatever, maybe we had. If there was like an unjust heat between the two of us.
It felt like it was just wires crossed.
Yeah.
For me.
And I agree with you because of some miscommunication, not on our end. But higher ups not communicating and that disseminating down, that can be a problem.
Yes.
But there was a moment where I just remember at the top of the shift, something had frustrated you. I walked in and asked, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I got 4 different answers, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna do a thing. And we got into it for a hot second, and then there was just a turn and a tough way. And I remember locking in. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give him some space. I'm gonna let him do his thing. You locked in. We're just making drinks in the service well, and there was a moment where I'm on point, and I'm just getting the business from somebody. Somebody comes in. I'm doing my best. We're 3 deep, And I'm just doing my best to kind of be like, I got you. Okay, I'll get there. Hey, yes, I'm coming. And then you just came over and you're like, leave that man alone. Can you not fucking see what he's doing? And you just came over. You stopped everything you were doing. You came over. You had my back. Even though we had just had this heated moment and you walked back over there. And I was like, okay, this is the moment I know I can trust Nando, because even if we are going to have something between us that's going to be like, we're going to have to handle this and address this, but this is not the time right now. You still had my back, and you came over and you supported me. And Martha and I had the same situation maybe like a few weeks later. And that's when I realized, I was like, my people got my back. We'll figure this shit out. We'll just figure it out. I don't know. And God's honest truth, I don't remember what it was that we were having heated about.
I can be honest with you. I don't even remember what you're talking about.
I don't even remember.
Like, the only thing I remember was that one time.
Like, did this get batched or did this not get batched? What was the thing? I don't fucking know. I don't have time to deal with it. Yeah, okay, cool. And that's exactly probably
Depending on the day and the time you come in and what I'm dealing with, because I mean, and this is not, this isn't a criticism. This is literally just a nature of the business.
Yeah.
Depending on the day and time that you come in, you don't know what the opener is dealing with in that exact moment. 100%. And it literally probably has 99.9% not to do with you. But you come in at the right moment and the person will be like,
Yeah.
Because their
Yeah.
mind might be somewhere. And,
Yeah.
you know, I appreciate that you even give me the grace on that because I'm like, damn. I mean, I try not to be a dick.
And I mean, that kind of goes back to my first point, too. It's like, I had to really, 5 years ago, Kyle would have been like, fuck that, dude. I'm going to do everything I can to get you fired. Fuck you. I probably won't do that, but I'll think that the entire night, you know? Like, I would have been so argumentative and such an asshole, but this time, now I'm like, he's going through some shit, and I know he will tell me in his own time.
Yeah.
And if I take that personally, which I'm just a creature that does take the shit personally. Like I mean, you could fucking stub your toe, and I'm gonna be like, he stubbed his toe. It must have been my fault.
I should have moved over.
You know, yeah, I should have done something. You know, I mean, but that's just who I am. You know, like I'll just take that shit personally. But like,
You didn't see that, but he committed seppuku.
I did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, I
you
couldn't
didn't
see it from
but
here.
It happened. Yeah.
You know, but like it's I don't need to belabor this point. The point is, I knew in that moment I could trust you, and
Yeah.
even if there's something going on, which I'm glad that we figured it out, and it didn't become a thing. And you know, and I know you've divulged to me too some like personal stuff that was going on.
Yes.
that I had no clue.
I've had
and I know that
a crazy few years.
yeah,
No
that's okay.
excuses at
No
all.
excuses, none.
No excuses at all. But yeah.
I also just realized something Friday on Martha's last shift. We're the OGs now. Well, you're the OG, but like you and I are like
Yeah.
like I was curious one day while I was on a walk with my dogs. We've gone through 14 people since I started in like September of last year.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, year before.
Yeah.
Or
And we're a small crew
Yeah.
where we work. 14 is very high.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like
The amount of people who come to me and they're like, you're the only one I recognize. And they're like, where's the other guy? I recognize him too. Like,
yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah.
They're just like, they don't know our names.
yeah,
Neither one of us.
yeah.
But they're just like, oh, you're the only one I remember. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
I can't tell you how many times people come in and be like, do you work with I think his name's Garrett? I'm like, I've never met a Garrett. I'm sorry, dude.
I remember Garrett.
I'm sure Garrett's a really sweet guy. I don't know Garrett.
Garrett's a great guy. It's very funny to like. It's funny to me because I got to say this.
Yeah.
Because we're a small crew
Yeah.
and I've been there almost 4 years now. I see the hiring cycles and I see when they're trying to hire someone to replace a different personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like for them, it was like, because here's the thing, as far as I know, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, Garrett's white. And they were like, yo, we need another white guy. And I looked up and I was like, we do need another white guy.
I mean, technically, and I'm not going to throw any shade on Ray because he's my buddy too, but like technically when Ray left, I took over for Ray. So when a white guy left, then a white guy took over for a white guy.
Oh, Roy.
What Ray, RJ.
RJ. Which one's that one?
Remember Ray? Yeah, the mustache?
That was Roy.
Ray Johnson?
Had the mustache.
Well, he had like a beard, but like his mustache was very pronounced. I'll show you a picture of him later. You know.
Yeah. You gotta show me a picture. Shit,
should-
I've gone
I
through
should-
so many people. God damn.
Yeah, because like
I got people I've forgotten.
Yeah, 'cause I bumped up to Ray's spot, so I was working a little bit with like X and Rafa and you and Martha. Remember Ray?
Oh, Ray wasn't there that long. That's why.
He went there. He's there maybe like 6 months, I think, if that. If that.
The only person I remember that was there for 6. You're not talking bar manager, right?
No. That
bar
was
man.
Matt. Well, I got hired on Matt's last day.
Not Matt. Before Matt.
Mark?
Yeah, you did get hired on Matt's last
Mark's
day. I
first
remember
day
that.
was my first day as well.
Yeah,
Well,
I gotta figure that
technically.
off camera. Let's not.
Yeah,
not
we don't need that.
Jesus.
We're cutting this.
Fuck, I've missed too. It's so many people. You see? Gone, but also forgotten, I guess. Sorry.
Actually, that's a good segue. Because I had a buddy of mine who asked me, he's like, dude, you're going on a podcast about the industry, you got to ask this question because I got to know the answer. And I told him, I was like, I'm going to ask the question, but I ain't got an answer, and I don't think anybody has the answer. It's just, for me, I
definitely don't.
I could tell you what worked for me and how I did it.
Okay.
But I can't tell you the answer. The answer is People that want to work in the bar industry, how is the best way to break into it?
You know what? That is a question. That is a question. I will not give that an answer that I've ever given before. I will try to answer this question more honestly with a feeling as opposed to a roadmap. Because I think in the past, especially in the earlier versions of this or of the industry perspective, actually, when presented with that question, we would mostly tell people like, "Oh, you gotta go learn to be a bar back or go learn to be this, and then get into it that way." I will say that, in my opinion, the most honest way to answer that question is that for someone looking to get into the industry and really just like, I love the industry. Like I love it. And it's not because I love alcohol, because that's a problem. But I love the industry. I love what it does. I love what it represents. That's why I'm in it. I feel like that's why you've been in it. Same thing with my brother as well. Like, there's a sense of community and connective tissue there that is, I don't think it can be replicated anywhere else other than law enforcement and the military, period. I don't care what anyone says, because I've been so orbital of those two realms, not so much the law enforcement side, but the military side. But also in my experience, you know, in a former life, I was a biker for a while, and seeing the overlap between law enforcement and military, which is where the biker culture was created. But there are issues within it because of the competing ideologies, you know, like constantly butting heads. And I know this is one, and you know, I have to be very careful how I say this. But it's it's probably the main reason why I left the biker community. There was this joke we used to say that, like, man, this is just like high school. And I think of it like, whether it be politics, military, law enforcement, whatever, business, everything, there's a hierarchy. And there's always going to be people at the top. But that's because the way those systems are built are for people to be at the top. We allow people to control certain things. And we don't realize that in doing so, they become the gatekeepers. And in giving these people the keys to the gate, we don't always understand what they do and don't believe in, and what they do and don't think is a priority. So sometimes we can create these gatekeepers who will hold down the very ideologies that make something great. Yeah. So when it comes to the service industry, I could tell you to go learn from another bartender or a bar back. When it comes to, you know, being a chef, I could tell you to go learn from a cook and start from dishwashing. But if you pick the wrong venue and you pick the wrong teacher, I could be setting you up for all kinds of failure.
Yeah, you could be setting you back too.
Yeah.
I mean, one wrong move and you could be back 5 years ago. Yeah.
One wrong move, you could be dead.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, you're right.
I remember hearing a year ago from someone who was someone's former boss, and the person we're speaking of in this particular case, you know, they were telling me about how this person had passed away a couple months before, and I had no idea. And come to find out, it's because they were dealing with so many mental health issues and all of these different things. And it's like, oh, you thought that they had a good life, but yeah, they had a good life, but they were leaning into all the things that just ate away at who they were and ate away at their sense of self. And it's like, I mean, shit. It doesn't mean the industry was bad for them. They were good at what they did, from what I know. But somewhere along the line, you get caught up with the wrong people. So I say all that to say, I'm sorry for the long-winded answer, but it's not just about learning the right job code
Yeah.
and saying that I just want to do this job. It's about learning where is your mental space at
Yeah.
compared to the industry you're trying to be in, and who are you going to gravitate towards once you get into that industry, because they're going to be the ones who dictate the type of person you become if you allow them.
Yeah.
And again, you can go and be like, I want to be a bartender,
Right.
or I want to be like, a lot of people get into the industry because they want to own a restaurant or a bar.
Yeah.
Where do I get in? I can tell you where to get in, and you can go to a bar that's owned by someone that you think is great.
Yep.
Me and my brother met at a bar that we thought was great, and then we started working there and found out this is fucking terrible.
This place is great.
Yeah. So I will say my best advice is to learn as much about the industry as you can from the people working within it.
Yep.
And think about how you see yourself existing within that. And then if you do that, I believe that you have the best opportunity to find the right job code, find the right experience, have the most fun, and provide the best guest experience that you can along the way. Mm-hmm. I think if you do all those things, you'll learn the industry the best way that you can.
I agree. Yeah. I think to add on to that, because there's a textbook answer to what we do, and then there is just the best way I know how to say it is there's the street smarts element that where if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
And I mean, because
if you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, because the book smarts element of it is like, look, it's a recipe. I can memorize a recipe. I can teach myself over time, hand-eye coordination, precision, and accuracy to making that drink perfect, and I can make that great. But what makes it magical? And I mean, I don't know why, but like in my head, I'm thinking old-fashioned, but that's just where my brain.
That's a good place to start, though.
When you're making an old-fashioned, for example, like what makes it magical is the person and how they sell it, and you can't teach a person. You can't teach who you are. And you can't teach, good sell, bad sell.
That's actually a really good line, though. Like, I can't teach you who you are.
Can't teach you who you are.
That's pretty good, man.
Oh, shit.
That's
Save me that clip there.
Yo, I will. That's some life lesson shit. I can't teach you who you are. Like, that's very real.
You are who you are, and through maybe the job, you might learn how to be more comfortable with who you are and give that out. But that's your best, I guess, give to the industry is just giving yourself, but giving the best version of who you are. Now, the best version of who you are, I would argue, maybe some of my buddies here will disagree with me, is not showing up and taking 3 shots of Rumpelmans to start your 4 a.m. soccer shift. Shout out to my boys that are doing that right now.
Woo!
Yeah,
man.
Maybe
4 a.m. rumpies.
Yeah, maybe it's not a good idea to go shot for shot with the regulars. But hey, and listen, I giggle about that because I did all that shit, and I had that fun time, and you pay the price, and you may not get fired. I've been very fortunate, knock on wood, that I've never had to go through the unfortunate part of having a DUI, but I should have, for sure.
Yeah.
I should have.
The ironic part is that I sounded just like you, and the one that I got wasn't one that I should have got. Yeah. No mistake can be said that while done by me is someone else's fault. Mm-hmm. I'm guilty of what I have done in my life. Yeah. However, it was definitely a situation that I was trying to avoid.
Yeah.
And also, I was in that position trying to get the other person to de-escalate.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, like, there's this adage in football is like, they always penalize the second guy. You know, like the first person who threw a punch almost never gets penalized. The first person who instigated it almost never gets in trouble. But the person who they saw, because the person who started it brings the eyes over.
Right.
The person they saw is the one they can penalize because that's what they saw.
That's right.
And again, I'm not excusing while trying to excuse. I'm literally saying, yes, I am guilty of something, but it was because I was in a position where I was trying to get a friend to not do the thing that they were doing. And you know how that old adage of like, if you're speeding and the cop speeds to catch you, aren't you guilty of the same crime? That was literally how I got my DUI.
Sure.
I was trying to catch up to the other person. They didn't. They saw them, but then they saw
You
me
was the
second,
second guy,
and they were like, sold. We'll take that guy.
Reminds me of a story I heard in the Boy Scouts. This is a very quick little add off here. 2 Boy Scouts were walking in the woods. All of a sudden, they come up on a bear. One of the Boy Scouts drops his pack, starts putting on a different pair of shoes. The guy looks at me, he's like, "What are you doing, man? You gonna try and outrun that bear?" And he's like, "No, man, I'm not gonna outrun the bear. I'm gonna outrun you."
Outrun you, yeah. Touche.
Yeah.
Touche. And on that note, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe and tell a friend and all that good shit. All right, I need a bathroom break.
Add me on Instagram.